Hi, Mr. Nelson. I'm Ben Parker, if you didn't know that, and I'm going to present my project of Being Me in America by Ben Parker. So, how do you identify yourself ethnically and culturally? I would identify myself as Northern European American. So, I had three main groups of ancestors. I had a Scottish group, which I'm about 40% Scottish, and all those ancestors were Protestant, and about all those ancestors were also from the McPherson clan. And then there's the logo, or not the logo, but their sign, and touch not the cat, but a glove. So meaning like watch out, like if you're gonna anger the clan, be ready. Then my second main group is English, and they were also all Protestant. And then my third main group is Irish, and then none of them were Northern Irish. They were all Catholic, like mainland Irish. And then my family tree. My mom's side, so my grandmother, Barbara Thompson, and my grandpa, Corbin Thompson, they were just about almost all Scottish. And then my aunt, Carlin Thompson, my aunt, Laura Thompson, my uncle, Roy Thompson, and my mom, Jennifer Parker. And then my dad's side, my grandpa was very English and a little bit German and a little bit French. And then my grandma, Corinne Parker, was very Irish, almost all Irish. And then my aunt, Joan Parker, my uncle, Michael Parker, and my dad, also Clayton Parker. And then my brother, Will Parker, and me. And on the left is my grandpa and my mom on the day of my mom and dad's wedding. And then on the right is a picture of on the left of that picture is my Uncle Michael, then my Aunt Joan, and my dad. So why did your family choose to come to the Bay Area? So my mom and dad both worked in the government in D.C. before they moved to the Bay Area. My dad is from San Clemente, which is right outside of LA, and my mom was raised right outside of D.C. So some push factors, or just about the only push factor for them to leave D.C. was they had Democratic jobs, and then George Bush was elected, so he was a Republican, so that just meant way less Democratic jobs. And then the pull factors were my mom wanted to be a teacher, my dad found a prosecutor job in California, and both of them wanted somewhere to raise a family and earn a lot of money. Then on the right, it's a picture of DC, and also my mom and my dad attending a White House Christmas party, which we actually still have the ornament from. And then, why did your family choose to come to America? So again, I have three main groups of ancestors. So my pull factors for my English ancestors were just better opportunities and all the free land that was being given out in America. So there weren't many push factors for my English ancestors, but one, which is for a very small group of them, were they were actually involved in like an uprising against the king or queen at the time, so they were forced to flee from England. Then my Scottish ancestors, some pull factors for them were religious freedom and job opportunities. And then the push factors were, so at the time they were Protestant, my Scottish ancestors, but they married French Huguenots, which at the time the French Huguenots were actually a big group in France, but then they were just forced to flee from France, and just about everyone hated them, and some of them, or they went all over Europe, and some of them went to Scotland. And my Scottish ancestors married those French Huguenots, which are also my ancestors, and then they flee to America with those French Huguenots. Then my Irish ancestors, some pull factors for them was, again, this is just a small group of them, was they went to find a relative and never returned. I'm not sure if they weren't able to get back, or they just found so many opportunities and liked it so much in America that they decided to never go back. And then also job opportunities. And then some push factors were potato famine, and because of the potato famine, there were no food or available jobs. Then compare the different generations' interviews about their experiences. So my current generation and my parents' generation, which is my brother and my mom, some differences were my mom grew up learning and following the Presbyterian faith, and then my brother just doesn't go really by any religion and just follows basic principles like being nice to everyone. Then some similarities between them were they both grew up with a supportive family who wanted them to do what they want to do, like no matter really what that job was. It didn't have to just be like, stay-at-home mom, you have to raise a family. You can you can do whatever you want. So my parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, some differences were my grandma's ideals were very similar as to other people in the same generation. Meaning, like, at that time, women, they all just learned to, like, you're going to grow up to be a mom and raise a family. You're not really going to have an actual job. And that's just kind of what she learned. And then my mom's ideals were very unique and less generic. Like, she wanted to be a ballerina or a teacher. And obviously, a lot of people want to do that, but that's not what you were raised to do. And then similarities were they both grew up learning to do your part in society and be respectful to everyone, which is definitely passed down to my grandmother, to my mother, and also me and my brother. So my grandparents' generation and my current generation some differences were my grandma's race affected her more, allowed better opportunities for her, meaning like, so she was white, meaning like she was just got a lot more respect, probably faced just about no racism at all, and just had many more opportunities and much more respect. Life was just much easier for her compared to a minority. And my brother's race affected him much less. Other people are treated equal to him, meaning which he obviously has been treated better, but not what he's seen or fully experienced compared to like minorities. So it really hasn't affected him as much as it would like 60, 50 years ago. Then some similarities were they both live by the principle of just be nice to everyone, which it's very basic, but it's been passed through our family a lot. And then this picture on the right is a picture of me, my brother, and my parents on the left. Then in the back is my half-brother. Then to the right of him is my cousin Jack, my Uncle Joe, my grandma Corrine, my Aunt Joan, and my cousin Kate. And this is all my dad's side. No one from my mom's side is in this picture. And then what was the advice each of your three family members gave you? So my mom, Jennifer Parker, quote, as a member of society, you have a responsibility to respect everyone and take care of the earth. So meaning pretty much everyone deserves respect, just about no matter what they've done, and anything that they own, any property, just about anything on this earth, you should always take care of and you should respect. Then my grandma, Barbara Thompson, quote, always do what is right no matter what the cost is. So I think that's also one of my favorite quotes, knowing that she's just experienced so much. And so I think that's probably the most important, and also means a lot to my mom's quote. And then my brother, Will Parker, quote, just be nice to everyone you meet and karma will pay you back. Which I think it has for him. He's pretty successful, and he's always just nice and respectful to everyone, especially adults, which matters a lot. And then here's a picture of my brother when he received the Reardon's Best for Activities. And then, so here's a slide of my mentors. So, Will, my brother is one of my role models because I see him and strive to emulate him every day in the classroom, in student activities, and together out on the track at practice. Yeah, I mean, he's really smart. He does a lot with activities. He's always occupied and just has something to do, which can be bad, but it's also admirable for how much he does with on top of cross country and everything, which he's very successful in. And then my grandma is one of my role models because she raised 4 sons and daughters, meaning 1 son and 3 daughters, who have all grown to be very successful, and she was able to retire very early. Yeah, so she raised a family. She did a really good job of it. I really love my aunts and uncles, and of course my mom. And she was able to retire very early, and she even took care of my cousin, which I treat her as my aunt. And even when she was retired and in her home, which they were afforded to build in Maryland. Then my mom is one of my role models because she has worked many impressive jobs and has done a lot with her life while also raising an amazing family. Then my thesis is my brother and my grandma are both strong inspirations and role models in my life, but my mom is my strongest role model because she worked in D.C. with Bill Clinton, has a master's degree in teaching, and raised a family. Which I think for anyone reading that is obviously just really admirable. You don't really have to know my mom to see that that's really impressive and could understand why that could be my mentor and many people's mentors. Then the last slide, which is a legacy slide. What is a good legacy of your family? So future and legacy. So as a community goal, my family has always been taught that you have a job to do, and that is respect everyone and their belongings. So this come from my grandma, and it's passed through her side of the family. It's just she's always been taught that as a human, you have the job to see everyone's equal, be nice to everyone, respect everything, it's very simple, but at the same time, it's so important. Then our family goal is to always talk with your family and give everyone your time, which I think is similar to the last goal, which is just respect everyone, and it also will pay you back. And then I think just, talking with our family, which we do a lot because we don't live near our family. They're all on the East Coast, so we talk with them a lot, and I think that reflects on other people you know too, and just give them your respect. Then my personal goal is to make varsity next year for cross country and keep consistent grades, which I think I should be able to do. And then thesis. So reaching out to my family and making the varsity cross country team is very important to me, but to respect everyone and be nice to everyone is most important and helpful. So I think reaching out to my family and making varsity team is kind of, although only one is technically a personal goal, I think that's obviously least important. And then reaching out to my family, it makes a lot of people happier, but not near as much to what I'll do with my community goal, which I think just makes like the earth a better place, makes everyone happier. It's just so simple yet so important. And then at the top is a picture of my mom and then my brother on the left and me on the right at my grandparents' house in Maryland. And then, so that's the end. Thank you for listening.